What if everything you've ever believed about life was only a fragment of the truth? Not a lie, but an incomplete story. Imagine for a moment that this reality, this life you experience with its ups and downs, its laughter and tears, is not the ultimate reality, but a vast, intricate game your soul chose to play. A game so immersive, so brilliantly designed that you forgot it was a game at all. What would you do if you suddenly remembered the rules, the mechanics, and the purpose of it all? Would you keep playing as if asleep, or would you wake up and outsmart it? This game is not a test of endurance or survival. It's a journey of awakening. It's not about accumulating wealth, power, or even knowledge. It's about peeling back the layers of illusion to uncover the truth of your being. You are here to remember who and what you truly are. And the beauty of it is that the answers were never hidden from you. They've been in plain sight all along, encoded in the mysteries of science, whispered through the teachings of mystics, and etched into the fabric of your own soul. Quantum physics, for instance, offers us profound clues about this cosmic game. The observer effect is not just a quirk of subatomic particles. It is a revelation about the nature of reality itself. Imagine this. Particles exist as waves of infinite possibilities until they are observed. The act of observation, the mere presence of consciousness, collapses those possibilities into a single tangible reality. What does this mean for you? It means that your consciousness, your focus, your expectations are not passive. They're active, creative forces shaping the very fabric of the universe around you. Think about that for a moment. The universe isn't some cold, detached machine operating on random chance. It is alive, responsive, and deeply intertwined with your awareness. The game's mechanics are simple yet profound. What you expect, you create. If you expect failure, you align yourself with it. If you expect abundance, joy, and love, you magnetize those experiences to yourself. This isn't about wishful thinking or naive optimism. It's about understanding the power of your focus and using it to shape your reality intentionally. Yet most people don't realize this. They are trapped in the perspective of the five-sense man. The five-sense man navigates life through what he can see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. He relies on his physical senses to interpret the world and assumes that what they reveal is the totality of existence. But the five senses are incredibly limited. They filter out far more than they perceive. The visible spectrum of light, for example, is just a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. What we see is not all there is. It's merely what our eyes can detect. The five-sense man lives in a world of limitation. He believes in separation. Me versus you, self versus other, here versus there, now versus then. He believes in scarcity. Not enough time, not enough resources, not enough love. He believes in struggle. The need to fight, compete, and conquer to survive. And because he believes these things, he experiences them. The five-sense man is a prisoner of his own perceptions, unable to see beyond the walls of the reality he has unconsciously constructed. But then there is the spiritual man. The spiritual man has awakened to a higher truth. He knows that he is not the body he inhabits, nor the mind that thinks. He's the consciousness behind it all. He is non-local and eternal, existing everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. He is not bound by time or space because he is the awareness in which time and space arise. For the spiritual man, the game changes entirely. He sees the world not as a series of disconnected events, but as a harmonious, interconnected whole. He understands that he is not separate from the universe. He is the universe, experiencing itself in human form. This shift in perspective is the awakening the game is designed to inspire. It's the moment when the illusion of separation dissolves, and you remember that you are the creator of the game, not merely a player in it. The spiritual man perceives reality from a vantage point that transcends the physical. He sees the infinite potential in every moment, the boundless possibilities that lie beyond the constraints of the five senses. He understands that reality is not fixed but fluid, not external but internal, not separate but unified. This realization is not a new idea. It echoes through the teachings of mystics, sages, and spiritual masters throughout history. Neville Goddard, one of the most profound voices of this truth, captured it beautifully when he said, "God became man so that man could become God." This statement holds the key to understanding the purpose of the game. God, the infinite, eternal consciousness, chose to descend into limitation, to take on the form of man, to experience life from the perspective of finitude. Why? Because through limitation, the infinite gains something it could never know otherwise, the experience of contrast. Joy is meaningless without sorrow. Light is invisible without darkness. Life is hollow without the shadow of death. In becoming man, God immerses itself in the full spectrum of experience, savoring the richness of existence in all its forms. But this descent into limitation is not the end of the story. It is merely the first act. The second act is the ascent, the awakening. Man, who begins as a finite, limited being, is destined to remember his true nature, to realize that he is not separate from God, but an expression of God, a fragment of the infinite returning to the whole. This is the journey of the soul, the purpose of the game, to awaken from the dream of separation and remember the unity of all things. When you awaken, everything changes. You no longer see obstacles as barriers, but as opportunities for growth. You no longer fear loss because you understand that nothing real can ever be lost. You no longer seek validation from the external world because you know that the source of all fulfillment lies within you. The awakened soul moves through life with a sense of peace, purpose, and joy, knowing that every moment, every experience is part of the divine design. The observer effect in quantum physics is not just a scientific discovery, it is a spiritual truth. It reminds you that you are not a passive observer of reality, but an active participant in its creation. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your expectations, they are not mere reflections of the world around you. They are the blueprints from which the world is constructed. The universe is a mirror, reflecting back the image you project onto it. This is why expectation is so powerful. When you expect the best, you align yourself with the highest frequencies of creation. You become a magnet for abundance, joy, and love. This is not about denying the challenges of life, but about approaching them with a sense of possibility. The awakened soul doesn't see problems, he sees potentials. He doesn't see limitations, he sees opportunities. He doesn't see separation, he sees unity. To awaken is to step into the role of the spiritual man, to see the world not through the lens of the five senses, but through the eyes of the soul. To live not as a victim of circumstance, but as the creator of your reality. To move through life not with fear, but with love. To remember that you are not separate from the universe, but a vital part of its infinite dance. And as you awaken, you begin to see the game for what it truly is. Not a test, not a punishment, but a masterpiece of divine design. You see that every joy and every sorrow, every success and every failure, every moment of your life has been leading you to this realization. You see that the game was never about winning or losing, but about waking up. Waking up to the truth that you are and always have been the creator of the game. This is the ultimate goal of the soul, to awaken from the illusion of separation and remember its oneness with all that is. To realize that the finite and the infinite are not opposites but reflections of the same truth. To see that the game was never about escaping reality but embracing it fully, with all its beauty and complexity. To remember that you are not a fragment of the universe, but the universe itself, experiencing life in the form of you. And now the choice is yours. Will you continue to play the game as if asleep? Or will you awaken to the truth of who you are? Will you remain trapped in the perspective of the five-sense man? Or will you step into the infinite perspective of the spiritual man? The path is yours to choose, the journey yours to take. But know this, the game was never meant to confine you. It was designed to set you free.